Hello friends and welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're going to make peanut butter pie snack cakes. So what you see on my counter is what we're going to use to make the actual cookie part of the snack cakes, and then later on I'm going to have another piece where it shows what goes into the mix that goes for the inside, that fluffy creaminess that you get inside of a snack cake. So it's broken into two parts. This is what we're starting with, and you're going to need to preheat your oven to 350 degrees because these will be in there for about 11 to 12 minutes when we're making these. Now it's your choice how big a snacky cake you want to make. I'm making mine the medium size that you would get from the store, so as we go along, just watch and we'll get this done. So let's start off with 1.5 cups of flour, a half a teaspoon of baking powder, and a half a teaspoon of baking soda. And we're going to whisk this together just to get these all mixed together where everything is throughout the flour, because we want to make sure that the baking powder and the baking soda don't sit up in one place when we're doing this. And the best thing to do is take a whisk to it and just mix it through. And just go ahead and do this until probably about 30 seconds to a minute, just to make sure everything kind of works through it. We just don't want to have this where all your baking powder's in one place. Then we're going to move on to another bowl where we're adding a half a cup of unsalted butter. Now this is you could put this in the microwave and soften it or melt it. You can do this sitting it out at room temperature, but it won't mix as well, so that's why I put mine in the microwave. We're adding 1 cup of creamy peanut butter. Now, once we get this in, we're going to want to mix this a little first before we move into anything else, just to make sure that everything gets incorporated, because the peanut butter, although it is at room temperature and everything like that, still needs to mix through. So, I'm going to mix it a little bit with a spatula, and then after that, I'm going to bring in the mixer. Now, when you're doing this, we're just going to add ingredients and mix, because it's the best way to make sure everything gets worked through the way it should. So just take your mixer, work through this until you really put the two things together, because the butter's going to work into the peanut butter because it's soft anyway, and we're just going to work it until we get them evenly mixed. So just go ahead and put your mixer on medium or whatever. Now if you have a stand mixer or something, you could use that. It's just as easy to use a hand mixer with this because of the fact that it's just so little to work with here. And once we get this mixed through, we're going to bring some sugars into it. So we're going to start out with 1 cup of brown sugar, and then we're going to add a half a cup of regular granulated sugar, and then we're going to mix those in. And then after this, there's only 2 more things that are going into this part of the mix, and we're going to add some vanilla extract and eggs to it, and that's going to make it a little more wet and a little more workable. So just go ahead and mix those sugars through, go from side to side and across the bottom just to pull in as much as you can for what's already in here. And as you keep going, you're going to notice that it's going to mix in, and there's going to be less dry and more of a look like the whole thing is peanut butter. And then when we get to a point where we think that it's pretty much mixed, then we're going to go ahead and add in the other. So if you haven't done it already, preheat your oven to 350 degrees because we will be needing that warm before we get to it. So now we are going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and then 2 large eggs. And once we get them in there, again, we are going to mix just to get this all completely incorporated. Now, once we get this all done, you're going to need a cookie scoop. Now, I use the medium sized one to do mine because basically it just gives me the right amount of the dough to actually put down to make the size cookie I want. Now, you could use small or large or whatever you want to, but I'm using the medium size. So when we get to that point, if you're wondering what size it is a medium. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and mix all the stuff together that's in this bowl. And then after this, we're going to mix this wet with the dry and start working that together. So go ahead and mix all the way around here, and make sure that as you're doing this, you get the sides pulled in and the bottom, because sometimes the stuff clumps up down there, and we just want to make sure that we get it completely through. Now, once I finish with the mixer, I'm going to bring a spatula in and scrape the sides of my bowl and everything like that, just to make sure I get everything, because we don't want to waste any of this. We want all of this to be going in. And just go ahead and keep mixing until you feel everything's done. and then take the spatula and pour it into your dry mix. So just scrape the bottom of your bowl and get all of that out. And once this is in, we're going to go ahead and mix again. Because the best thing about this is it's not hard to do this, and this has the most amazing taste, because the cookies alone are really just so great for peanut butter cookies. But then when you put this cream in the middle, it is such a good thing. And what's really funny is I bought the store-bought kind of these before, because, you know, there's like Little Debbie. I have to say I liked mine better, just because of the fact that it just tasted like real ingredients and not something that was over processed. Because sometimes when you get snacky cakes and things from the store, and yes, I know you shouldn't eat them that much, but they are pretty processed. They do taste it, and they taste kind of oily at times, which I really don't like. So that was my whole purpose in making this up, was to go ahead and look for a way to make my own version at home, because yes, I'm addicted to peanut butter, but this really did turn out so wonderful that I really just loved eating it. And my family did too, because everybody was grabbing these, and they didn't last all that long in my house. I think they were here for all of a day and a half, and then all my cookies were gone. So, you know, it's one of those things. So if you have a family that likes snacky cakes, this might be it, as long as you guys can eat peanut butter. So go ahead, take your spatula, pull this all together, make sure there's nothing stuck to the sides, and then after that, we're going to get ready to bake. Now, I'm going to use some really large baking sheets to do this with, and I'm going to line mine with parchment paper, because it's easy cleanup, and it doesn't really make that kind of a mess to do it like this. So, like I said, I have a medium scoop. I'm just going to make these kind of roundish. If they come off the scoop and they stick out little places here and there, I'm just going to push it in, just so that way when it bakes up, it's actually going to be more of a circle than, you know, jagged. And then just go ahead and do this. And I'm going to have more than one pan of this. But one thing you need to remember when you're putting these out here, scooping them, you need 2 of these to make one snacky cake. So whatever you do, you need an even number of these, or you're going to have one left over, which is okay because you can eat it anyway. But the whole point is just go for the even run on these and just work them, make sure they're kind of roundish, and then when they bake up, they'll be the right shape for what you're using. Now this is what we're going to use to make the inside, and this is going to be like a cream filling, so we're going to call it peanut butter cream. And what we're going to do is just mix these things together. There's so few things here that they work together to be really great, because literally you have 5 things and that's it, and that's all you have to deal with. So when we get to mixing this, you're going to have 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, and just make sure you have enough of that, and that's going to go in first. Then we're going to add 4 tablespoons of butter that's been softened or melted. Then after that, we're adding 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla and 3 tablespoons of milk. And then we're just going to mix this up a bit before we bring in the peanut butter, just because it's easier to mix this because it's really light and easy. And then we'll bring in the peanut butter right in behind it and mix that in. And at that point, you're going to have 1/2 cup of peanut butter going into this, and we're using smooth peanut butter on all of this, so, you know, just make sure you use that kind. And then once we get this in, we're just literally going to mix it together until it's completely mixed through the whole bowl. And everything in here is going to turn like a peanut butterish color almost. And it's just going to be this light, fluffy, wonderful inside that has this amazing taste to it. And then we're just going to bring our cookies when they've cooled and get like a good spoon worth of the filling, put it in the middle, then bring another one of the cookies over, put it on top, push them together, and that is your peanut butter pie. And that's such an amazing snacky cake. But the best thing about this is it is not hard to make these at home, and you get a lot of these out of the deal. I mean, you really do as you're going through this. I mean, depending on the size of what you make them is how many you're going to get, because if you made smaller ones, you get much more. But mine looked like this when they were done, and they were just the best thing. And like I said, they did not last long in my house, so I hope you enjoy these. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you get a chance, check out the Southern Mountain Kitchen website, where you can get a free recipe, check out the cookbooks available from the Southern Mountain Kitchen, and if you'd like to, you could order a cookbook at a discounted price, cheaper than Amazon, with shipping that is also cheaper than Amazon. So if you get a chance, check it out, and I hope you have a great day.